In 2026, most B2B founders struggle with two specific problems: cold outbound that gets ignored, or organic content that takes way too long to drive strong results. We built a hybrid system that fixes both issues and ended up booking over 200 calls across our clients over the past year without slowing down their current processes. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play a clip to show you the kind of quality of calls you can get using this system that I'm going to show in this video.
Cleverly, essentially. So it's
Take my money. This is insane. I love you guys.
like,
This
let's
is
say,
insane.
If you want to see how a system like that could look in your business, I'm running free consulting calls for 10 founders this month. So you can choose the time below if that interests you. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what this system is and how you can use it to start booking more qualified calls with decision makers like that without relying on cold outbound alone. But to understand why this works so well, we first need to talk about what's actually changed. So in this video, we're going to cover the new buyer journey and how to adapt to it to win, what most people do, thinking it still works, and the solution. By the end of this video, you'll know how to upgrade your outbound system, or if you don't have one, apply this new warm outbound system to 3x reply rates, book more demos, and stop burning money on ineffective acquisition strategies or hiring more SDRs. So this is what the buyer journey is, and we ultimately really need to understand how the buyer journey is so that we can adapt to it and ultimately get stronger results in terms of clients and in terms of getting more market share and in terms of reducing wasted spend on acquisition strategies. So the old buyer journey looks something like this. Someone would watch an ad or come across, an organic piece of content, and then they would visit your landing page or website, and then they'll perhaps watch the video on the website, which is typically called the video sales layer. Then they'll book a call, and then they'll end up closing. So it was pretty straightforward. But then the new buyer journey is completely different, right? So they might nowadays get a cold email from you, or let's say they land on an organic piece. Then they're gonna watch a YouTube video, or just a video in general, maybe a LinkedIn video or something. Then they're gonna read another LinkedIn post. Then they might DM you. And then they're going to go back and watch another YouTube video. Then they're going to read an email, request a lead magnet. And then the DM conversation continues. Then they might go back and watch another YouTube video. Then they'll book a call. Then they'll close. So completely different buyer journey. And we need to adapt to that to win. But this is what most teams do at this moment. They're either running an outbound process, which typically looks like this. An SDR, just connects on LinkedIn randomly, then sends a generic email, then cold calls the next day, follows up with a generic template, and then just keeps pestering them, and then ultimately gets no response, gets categorized as spam with the rest of the AI emails that they receive. And ultimately there's no value shared before asking. Or on the other side, companies that are running content systems, this is how it usually goes, right? They have a marketing team that searches content ideas on ChatGPT on a random Tuesday. None of them resonate, so they end up giving up, and they just post, product posts usually. And then if they feel like it, they add random insight posts into the mix, because why not? And then they might post on socials. They usually post on socials just to tick off a checklist, and then they just focus on branding and making it look aesthetic. And ultimately, they end up getting very little engagement from the ICP. Pretty much no warm conversations started in the DMs or inbound leads. Trust doesn't get built because content strategy is all over the place, and prospects get confused when they land on your socials. Even if theoretically you had a perfect strategy for either of these two channels, even if you perfected your cold outbound strategy, it's still expensive and way more inefficient, and you end up burning more leads in your TAM that could be great fits. And even if you perfected your organic strategy, it's a very long game and it's not fully predictable. And before traction builds, qualified calls are inconsistent and they're very slow to come in. That's why getting an agency to do your cold outbound and getting another agency to handle your content, for example, just doesn't work. You need an expert who knows how to work both in tandem and can orchestrate an efficient system with both that ends up lowering your cost per acquisition, shortens your sales cycles, increases your net margins, makes calls predictable and warm, and builds you as a top authority in your space. And so this is the system that fixes these issues that I was describing. And it's a system leveraging cold outbound and a trust system and a trust infrastructure with mainly YouTube long form videos. And so what it would look like is, for example, on the cold outbound side of things, we would implement a value-led email sequence with a video CTA. So instead of, sending a generic cold email, just, saying, hey, we do this, so, we can do this for you, and then do you want to book a call? No, leading with value is saying, hey, we solve this specific problem with similar types of companies as you. We actually recorded a quick video breakdown of it, do you mind if I send it over? So we're leading with value, and this ends up getting at least 2 times higher response rates than other sequences because of the value element, and just because of how we structure them. And then, the video is then shared with the prospect. This builds trust and handles objections, and your product becomes differentiated in their eyes, and reciprocity is created. And then a warm call is booked, and then they're directed to a post-booking page with more videos that handle their objections and essentially build more trust, and qualification increases as well, so you don't risk jumping on calls with unqualified prospects. And then a pre-call email sequence as well is launched, so they get more value and education as well. This results in higher show rates, highly educated prospects, no non-qualified leads, and only warm pre-sold calls. And ultimately, you end up closing at a high percentage, with the fact that it works with this second channel over here, which is YouTube. And so how this second part of the process works is we would build 3 foundational sales assets, which are usually a video handling your client's biggest objection, and a video that explains your solution or product, and a case study video as well. And then we plug it into the funnel. So across LinkedIn and across your websites, this adds a layer of trust into the funnel and increases trust and booking rates. And we repurpose them as lead magnet posts that get a ton more traffic and engagement. And we repurpose them as value posts to increase trust on socials and position you as an authority. No one in your niche is doing this. I can guarantee you that. And then it serves as evergreen videos that nurture and convert for you 24/7. And we then scale YouTube content to bring in new qualified calls. This is by itself can easily be a $30,000 a month revenue source. So ultimately, Outbound reaches your ICP at volume and with control, while YouTube compounds trust and inbound in the background. And so what you end up getting is you're booking 20 plus meetings a month consistently with qualified decision makers. You close at a high percentage with leads who understand the value of your service or your product, and you have a channel bringing you constant qualified calls on autopilot. So if you are interested in a free B2B growth audit, book a call below. Again, I'm hosting free audit/consult calls for 10 founders this month. So if you're interested in booking that call, then feel free to do so. And yeah, hope to talk soon.